Hi. I like to burn stuff. Maybe I better give some context. As a kid growing up in Illinois, I was fascinated with baseball, cars, and fire. Now, I know that this is being taped, and my parents are going to see this. And kids, you probably shouldn't try this at home. But I used to take my Hot Wheels into the garage, pour lighter fluid on them, set them on fire, and then send them down the track. Something like the following. Yeah, that looks pretty fantastic, doesn't it? Fortunately, I grew up in an excellent, well-funded public education system where I was able to channel my energies into something more useful than literally Hot Wheels. In school, I became more and more enthralled with physics and mathematics. Meanwhile, in parallel, the environmental movement, things like Earth Day, really started to gain momentum. And kids do notice these things. I remember vividly watching TV when a public service announcement of some sort came on, illustrating a dystopian future. In this dystopian future, people needed to buy oxygen on the streets to breathe. And this had a significant impact on me. So as injuries derailed my baseball career and I enrolled in college, my passion for cars and combustion blended into a pursuit of science and a vision of a better world. 15 years of undergraduate and graduate education, including a postdoc, fueled and focused my enthusiasm for a sustainable future. Teaching classes along the way created a desire in me to become a professor and educate the next generation of students to pursue their own passions. Luckily, KU took a chance on me, and I was hired in 2008. Now, the first thing I did was research what other faculty were accomplishing, both inside and outside of my department. I found that we had excellent faculty in biology, chemical engineering, environmental engineering, and in other disciplines who are all working to understand biofuels. However, they were missing a certain piece of the puzzle, someone to burn and analyze the biofuels that they developed. Perfect. So for my research, I burned stuff. Now, I'm guessing that you all don't think that internal combustion is sexy and state-of-the-art. It doesn't necessarily grab headlines like autonomous electric vehicles. However, if we look towards the history of the automobile, and we're talking here about cars, not including trucks, we see how quick we are to change our method of transportation. In the animation that is being shown, the only option, the only powertrain option that does not include a combustion engine is the electric option. And it only shows up relatively recently as a small blip. Now, for those of us who believe that electric cars and solar energy are the way of the future, this is hard to accept. However, current electric vehicles only account for 1/10 of 1% of the global car market today. In fact, the Department of Energy predicts that 99% of all the vehicles in 2040 will still include a combustion engine. There's also an understanding that for now, our electrical grid, most of our electrical grid is powered by fossil fuels. And truthfully, despite impressive advances in electric vehicle technology, significantly more research and development is needed in batteries, power electronics, and other components. Current electric vehicles are costly and don't have the range that most consumers want. Now, this will change, but it will take time. We can get into a discussion regarding drivetrain efficiency, well-to-wheel emissions, and other aspects like torque. But how about this? I believe in electric vehicles strongly. That's why I had my undergraduate students build 2 of their own. On the left is a 1974 Volkswagen Super Beetle that we converted into a plug-in series hybrid electric vehicle. On the right is a 1997 GMC Jimmy that we converted into a modern battery electric vehicle. But as we've seen, the combustion engine isn't going anywhere. Or to express the real problem, the combustion engine will continue to go everywhere for a while. So my question is then, what can we do now that provides the biggest benefit to society? And my answer is, if you can't change the engine, then let's change the fuel. But what we change the fuel to is of paramount importance. Compressed natural gas is definitely an option, especially for industrial power plants. However, cleaning up the exhaust of compressed natural gas vehicles is difficult due to the stability of the methane molecule. There are also environmental issues that pertain to the extraction and distribution process of compressed natural gas. Other options that are not fossil fuel based are sustainable biofuels. Biofuels have significant potential to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions by taking advantage of the carbon cycle. Ideally, the carbon dioxide that's emitted during the combustion process is then recouped by its own feedstock in a net zero manner. However, one big aspect of sustainability is making sure that these biofuels work properly in an engine. If the consumer fills up with the biofuel and it adversely impacts their drive, then it doesn't matter how environmentally friendly the biofuel is, the consumer will not want to use that. In fact, the oil industry and the automotive industry realized this back in the day and have worked hand in hand to design better fuels and engines in parallel. In general, the goal of an engine is to squeeze every last bit of efficiency out of the fuel as possible. In many ways, this squeezing process is a function of the compression ratio. As you can see by the plot being shown, both the automotive and oil companies have done a great job increasing the squeezing throughout the years. A good analog of this can actually be found at the Olympics. By adding a springboard, so in other words, generating a better engine design, and improving one's training regimen, you can generate better fuels. What you find is that you can generate a lot more power and efficiency starting from the same point. However, what happens when you introduce a biofuel? Well, the engine may not have been designed for this biofuel. So it may work, but it may not work as effectively as you'd like it to work. You can imagine this like the Olympian, not hitting the springboard properly, thus missing the landing, and sometimes quite spectacularly. And then this is where KU comes in. Through our Feedstock to Tailpipe Initiative, we can vault biofuels over the obstacles between them and the marketplace. By understanding biofuel production and its properties better, we can create better biofuels that can be adjusted to the engine while minimizing their impact on the environment. For example, biodiesel can be created from many different domestic and renewable sources. If we were to run an engine as is on biodiesel or this other biofuels, we find that when combustion happens, changes. As you see here in the blue, it happens earlier. So why is this important? Well, this can lead to increased nitrogen oxide emissions from the engine, negatively influencing public and regulatory agency opinion about this fuel. However, by understanding biofuel properties and adjusting engine control and analyzing the combustion process better, we can adjust engine control to take these biofuel properties into account to provide a true and normalized comparison of these different fuels that you see here in red. Yeah, they still will act differently, but what we've done is remove the influence of combustion timing. As a result, by understanding biofuel properties and analyzing the combustion process, we can begin designing better biofuels and further adjust engine control appropriately to take advantage of these biofuels. Very similar to what the oil industry accomplished with fossil fuels. Then, if we look towards the next generation of combustion regimes, we can begin tailoring our biofuels for these combustion regimes. Yeah, I know this slide is busy. I'm an engineer. We like to throw a lot of stuff at you at once. But let me draw your attention to the ideal homogeneous charge compression ignition, or HCCI green box in the lower left corner. In general, combustion is a dirty and nasty business. For a diesel engine, you can imagine this like a flamethrower inside of the cylinder. This is going to result in a myriad of different emissions, like the black soot you see coming from the tailpipe. However, if we can mix everything perfectly and we can achieve combustion instantaneously, we can generate a highly efficient combustion process with low emissions. You can actually imagine this like fireworks. Conventional combustion is going to continue for a relatively long time, and you see the puffs of smoke that result. Whereas HCCI happens nearly all at once. It's a big boom. This is actually the theoretical engine performance limit of internal combustion engines that I teach in a sophomore level thermodynamics class. Hence, by understanding biofuels and engines better, we can now design both the biofuel and the engine to reach the theoretical efficiency limit of internal engine combustion. This is the goal of our great team of researchers who are part of the Feedstock to Tailpipe Initiative at KU. This initiative is unique to KU and has generated a wealth of biofuel knowledge that is now being used worldwide. Every day, I feel lucky to have arrived here, teaching thermodynamics and working to solve real-world problems. Not bad for a guy who just likes to set things on fire. Thank you.